Imagine this. You get in the plane, you are at the airport, and you ask the pilot, hey, can you take me to California and Florida at the same time? Probably look at you a little bit concerned. What about this? Imagine you're in your car. So for me, I'm here in Tennessee, and I were to try to go to both Kentucky and Alabama at the same time. Probably still a bit concerning. Here's the thing, there's so many people who try to do the exact same thing when it comes to their business. So today I want to talk to you guys about something that could be the difference between your business taking off or never getting off the ground at all. And it's all about making decisions and why trying to do everything or staying too broad is actually holding you back. So, for those of you guys who don't know me, hi, my name is Shanice Upshur. I am the corporate escapee, and my focus is all on helping corporate professionals create their escape plans to start their own businesses away from the corporate world. So, this whole idea, this whole thought process of making decisions really came about with a simple question from my niece. So, she is not quite in preschool yet, so like 2, maybe 3 years old. And so, recently she has started. When she asks questions, she ends it with asking or no. So, for example, she'll say something like, hey, Auntie, can I come to your house or no? So everything, right? Hey, mom, can I have dessert or no? And so the other day I was hanging out with her at the house and she's like, hey, auntie, will you go outside and play with me or no? And I was like, but I don't know, maybe we'll see. And she literally walked up to me, like grabbed my face in her hands and was like, auntie, will you play with me or no? And in that moment, I was like, oh my goodness, like this girl doesn't care about whether I give her a yes or a no. Like she just wants to know what the answer is. Like she wants to know what the answer so she can figure out her next step, right? Are we about to go or does she need to find another auntie to talk into going outside with her? And for her, it was this moment where I was like, all she cares about is clarity. She doesn't necessarily like care about the answer. I mean, she does, but she doesn't want to live in this space of like maybe, maybe not. And it really challenged me to think about how often I see people that are comfortable and are willing to stay in that place of, just uncertainty. And so, that happened and I was like, okay, how can I share this with others, right? It was this huge moment for me. And, let's be real, like how many of us have tried to do multiple things at once? Maybe you're running two businesses or you're afraid to niche down because you don't want to leave anybody out, right? I hear that all the time. Hey, if I only focus on supporting mothers, what about the fathers? If I only focus on helping corporate professionals who want to leave, what about the corporate professionals who want to stay? Right. So, not being afraid to niche down. You don't want to leave anybody out. But what happens instead is you stay stuck in this loop of maybe, right? You don't know if auntie's going to take you out. You don't know if you need to go ask another auntie to go outside. You just get stuck and you're stuck in this place of indecision. And honestly, like that can be really, really exhausting. So think about it. Like, how much time have you found yourself like waffling and like going back and forth between two different options or maybe three or four instead of just picking a lane and going for it? And so my niece at her young age, like she's already figured it out, right? She wants this yes or no so she can move forward. Again, if I tell her no, she's going to ask another auntie. If I tell her yes, she's grabbing her shoes. So she's like, I already have my next steps planned out. I just need to know which way I'm going. And for her, getting that clarity is so important. And if it's important to these little bitties, like, shouldn't that be important for us too, especially in the world of business? So, want to share a quick story with you. So I have been working with tons of clients over these past 2 weeks, and I had one who came to me and she was like, "Hey, I'm really interested in these two different ideas." And so, we're kind of talking, we're fleshing them out, and she was trying really hard to hold on to these two completely different, totally separate business ideas that she wanted to do. And we even had a couple of moments where when I would ask a question a certain way, it was very, very obvious that there was one that she was passionate about, that she loved. And she even called it out, right? I really love this. I'm really passionate about this. But what about people who need this, right? She was so afraid to let go of this other idea over here. And so, I asked her and I said, hey, let's think about the next steps required for both of these. If you were to take option one, what would the next thing look like? If you were to take option B, what would the next thing look like? And can you see yourself doing both? And she kind of had to stop and pause and was like, there's no way I could do both. So sometimes even putting it in that framework, right? Like what comes next? Okay, so if we really were to try to do two things at once, what happens next? Do we have the bandwidth? What does that look like? One of the things that I found is it tends to water the message down. It's really hard for you to be a professional. I'm trying to think of like two completely random things: a professional farmer and a professional gymnast. I don't know. Those are where I'm at. I can see my garden outside. So that's the two that popped in my head. And so honestly, like it wasn't until she decided to focus on this one specific things that things started to click. Suddenly we were able to talk better about the people that she was going to be working with. We were able to start framing up some of the offers that she was going to be making. We were able to start putting a lot of detail even around her marketing, and then she could see like, okay, this is how people are going to be able to get results, all because we were all in on solving one specific problem for her clients and for the people that she was working with. So sometimes, we get so honed in on, but if we let something go, we lose this. But what's the cost? Like, what's the cost of holding on? What's the cost of like living in that space of maybe? And here's the thing, like, maybe it really truly is the enemy of progress. And when you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing well. And you guys have probably heard that old saying. And as soon as I went to say that, I forgot what it was. Jack of all trades, master of none, right? Like we don't want to be in that space, especially as a business owner. And for most of us, the face of our business, of our company, of what it is that we're trying to do and how we're looking to serve people. And what I have found out is that when people split their time, their energy, their focus, like all of that ends up being divided up when they won't commit to a single thing, when they won't make decisions. And in business, like that tends to mean that you're not going to get the result that you're looking for. And think about it. If you're not willing to niche down, you're actually making it harder for your ideal clients to find you, which is the last thing that we want in the world. You're making it harder for yourself to stand out, and you're making it way easier to burn out because you're trying to be everything to everyone. So what's the alternative here? So we already know, right? Maybe that's a bad thing. We don't want to live in that space. So the alternative is the power of decisions. Make a decision, pick a lane, say yes to one thing and say no to the rest for now. Doesn't mean you can't pivot, doesn't mean you can't come back to it, doesn't mean that later on, maybe you have this epiphany and we figure out how to weave it in. But for now, go ahead and get locked in, have that laser focus. It's okay. Like this is the time to be laser focused. Again, it doesn't mean that you're saying no to this second idea, this third idea, this fourth idea forever. It does mean you're giving yourself a real shot at success. So when you make a clear decision, you free up your energy, you give yourself permission to go all in, you make it easier for your audience to understand how you can help them, and you actually start seeing results because you're focused. So, again, I can't overemphasize enough. You really have to reframe some of these thoughts, some of the conversation, whether it's from others or maybe even self conversation around the idea of decisions. And so, for me, when I decided to go all in on corporate professionals, helping them create their escapes, helping them walk away from the corporate world and create their own businesses, one of the things that I had to let go was this idea of, but what about the people who want to stay in corporate? What about the people who love the corporate world? Like, how can will you be able to help them anymore? I have done leadership coaching for forever. I love leadership coaching. And so one of the things that I had to come to terms with was, hey, if you're helping people leave corporate, you're probably not going to be able to come in and do workshops on building your leadership success, because those two things just didn't mesh. And I had a moment, I'm not gonna lie, I had a moment. It was brief, but I did have a moment where I was like, oh, but what about this other part? Like, is there a way for me to tie it in together? And I finally had to tell myself, like, hey, Shanice, like you have to go all in on this particular client and how you want to help them, if you want to make sure that it can be powerful, if you want to make sure that it's focused, and if you want to make sure that you're bringing your best self to your customers and clients every single day. So I would encourage you guys, if you find yourself, really struggling with this idea, with these thoughts of holding on to one thing and tossing away the rest for now, to figure out how you can reframe that, how you can change your talk, your discussion about it in a way that puts this positive spin and puts the focus more so on all of the amazing things that you're going to be able to do once you're laser focused, once you've made these decisions, and once you have this additional layer of clarity. So, next time you're tempted to hedge your bets, remember my niece's wisdom or no, right? Give yourself permission to choose your business, your sanity, all of that will thank you. And if you have found this helpful, I love that for you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen, to watch, to learn. Would love if you would give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more tips on building your business after corporate life. I hope that everybody has a fantastic Thursday. Let me know where you're stuck in that phase of maybe right now. And I'm excited to see all the decisions that you guys make. So have a great week, and I will see you later.